discussion items is where we go back to town.
Correct.
So tell us about this orange frog.
Yep. And basically, I would like to introduce an idea that has potentially something to do with leveraging or accelerating culture at RB. And, I've been thinking about this a lot since becoming a member of the board, what kind of venue there is, or how we actually bring ideas up, rather than sort of checking certain things, we do a lot of that. But the one thing I have to say from the first day that I was involved in here, it's been a real pleasure to be part of this group. And one specific item that I get a ton of feedback from members of the community is the culture at the school, particularly as sort of elevated by Principal Freitas, who, has brought an energy and sort of a positive vibe to the school. I mean, that's what I'm hearing from members of this community. And so I think most of us went, or all of us went to that school board conference, and one thing that struck me in the presentation of the keynote speaker, which, he was that one-time Bears player who played exactly one game before he got injured. I think one of or maybe his key theme was the idea that culture is the driving factor for performance. And you've probably heard the notion that culture eats strategy for breakfast, something that gets attributed to a whole number of people. I have no idea who said it, but based on my experience, I like the notion of it. And so after that keynote, I was walking through another part of the convention there, and then at the table of the International Thought Leader Network, they handed out this booklet, The Orange Frog. And it was free. I mean, you could literally just help yourself to a copy. And The Orange Frog is a parable based on positive psychology by Sean Acor. And here in the bottom it says, as taught in Harvard's famed happiness course and in organizations and education worldwide. This Harvard happiness course was taught by Tal Ben-Shahar, who I've experienced firsthand at the Spertus Institute. And I never realized, but Sean Acor has gotten a ton of attention nationwide. He happened to have been on Oprah at some point and has become a bit of a darling of the positive psychology movement. But where it gets really interesting is there, Sean Acor and some of his thoughts on this and teachings have actually been already tested in Illinois. There's a U.S. News article titled How Positive Psychology Can Improve Student Success. And in it talks about his involvement. And then I'm just going to read this very briefly. Acor has created the Orange Frog program to teach this approach to students and staff members at schools around the country. One such district is Schaumburg Township Elementary District 54 in the Chicago suburb of Schaumburg, Illinois. To kick off the 2016-17 school year, Acor hosted a happiness summit and presented workshops for all staff members that focused on positive psychology. And then just one more line. It appears that Orange Frog does indeed work. In the past 3 years, School District 54 went from the 73rd percentile of academic achievement in Illinois to the 95th percentile, he says. So,
Where's that district? I'm sorry.
54 Schaumburg. It's a huge district. It's got like 5 high schools right there.
No, it's an elementary district.
Oh, elementary.
Elementary.
It's a
Oh,
K-8 district.
sorry.
And so,
It is a big district.
So, I mean, that's as far as the idea has. It's not really an idea yet. I just thought there were sort of a number of things connecting in my mind. And quite literally, I mean, I'll sort of make the tie back to the very deliberate efforts that I've seen that administration has taken in this district to sort of put emphasis on culture. And I'm also seeing it, with the strategic planning workshop we have coming. I mean, my hope is just that we find ways to evaluate things like that. And in the case of Sean Acor, I mean, he's a consultant. Schaumburg hired him. I don't know under what terms and what it cost and all that kind of stuff. I think we're obviously nowhere close to even going to that stage. But I'm a very strong believer of the power of culture, and just wanted to introduce it and see whether, how do we take something like this potentially further? Is there interest? Do you guys think this is something we should debate in some form? And also for the educators, Gina and Mona in particular, who are also in schools and classrooms, I'm sure you guys have experience with some of this, or the integration of positive psychology and all of that. And I'll close by saying, in my involvement on the college level, I've just earlier today, yet again, have sort of been reminded of the fact that we have, there on the south side where I teach, there is apparently an epidemic of student mental health issues and so forth. And to the extent that I've talked with members who are students that are members of RB, I hear similar stories about how this is a real need. And of course, positive psychology has a lot to do with starting to address those issues also. So sorry for the long-winded explanation, but I think as we're all very passionate about what is best for the students and what could we do, this really caught my attention and I think has already some proven track record.
There's a mental health crisis across the state amongst youngsters. This is a huge book in K-8. I was just part of a meeting literally a week ago where the social workers were discussing this very book. I was just showing Wes, it's like $88 for this book on Amazon. You almost can't buy it at a reasonable price anymore because it's so big in K-8 education. And the idea of culture and SEL and yeah, so that's why when you emailed me about it, I was like, yes, bring it up. It's fantastic.
Right.
And I also applaud Dr. Freitas because I hear the same thing in the community as well about just the infectious energy that you've brought to the school.
So what I know about this is that they actually did, and I don't know if it was their board or administration, but at the III conference, they did a presentation because a friend who's a board member went to, and so they started with him as their guest speaker for their 17-18 school year. They did the Happiness Advantage as the book study, right? One of the things, and again, this is secondhand information, but one of the things my understanding is that district had a high turnover rate, and so this brought some stability in that aspect, was what they reported out at III. And then they had him come in as a consultant because last year they worked on his next book, which is Big Potential, right? And there is a blog post about it on the District 54 website. I can forward everyone the email if they want it, or the link if they want it. That's about all that I know about it. Vision, culture, teamwork are all very important aspects to driving positive school culture, driving positive work culture, right? And even in a company or a school. So,
So it seems reasonable then that we might want to hear from our own, for us to assume that there's a gap here without getting any information would not be fair to our administration. Maybe to hear from our, we have social workers, psychologists, like our counseling department, to see, have they recognized a gap? Is this, like Gina said, this is something they're really interested in wanting to do, or what do they see at ground level, and at least collect some data. you know,
Historically,
what we
what
got.
would,
Sure.
Tom, the first thing you would do, like after presenting something like this, is maybe gather a little more background, whether it's a handout or a PDF, and then send it to me so I could disseminate to the board.
Okay.
And then everybody have an opportunity to read it, and it stays on as a discussion item, and we look at it again at the next meeting, talk about, yeah, this was good, or, you know, I like the concept, but maybe it's more of a K-8 model, we should try to find some high school model. You know, or let's see if this, you know, see if it comes up again at the February 22nd. But I know, like, when we've had somebody bring up discussion items, like Laura, she's brought up consolidation on a couple occasions, she's supposed to bring
Right, whenever
materials to the
information.
district, back to the board.
Sure.
So maybe if you can get, you know, some articles or something that just show what he's promoting, and we can continue to discuss it, we can then go, I could take some of that back to Beth and the social workers and psychologists and see if there's something they want to do.
I'd be very happy to do that. And I also, you know, the benefit of having something like that I'd love to hear from the teachers, I mean, from any teacher also, in terms of, is there a gap? Is this seen as potentially something that is missing or not at all? So, yes, be
That'd
happy.
be one of my questions, is there a need?
Well, I think some of that hopefully
I
will
mean, you
come out
can
on
always
the.
sharpen your
Sure,
saw,
everybody
right?
can
I
do
mean,
better, right.
I'm not trying to say we can't do that, but I'm like, but is there even a need?
Right, and I
mean,
think
it
some of
seems we
that'll
have
come out
a
on the
pretty great
22nd.
culture here, to me. I don't know.
Yes, we don't want to make an assumption, but, you know, asking good questions, and now that this
Yeah.
has come up, and the information will help us ask even better questions.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
All right. All right, anything else we want to discuss on that one? Then we'll go consideration of items for future meeting. And then we can go to closed session.
Oh, gosh, can you put it up
We
there?
need it.
Sorry, Mary, I just closed my. The Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois enters closed session for the purpose of considering appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, student discipline, purchase, sale, or lease of real property, probable, imminent, or pending litigation, collective negotiations, and school safety.
Second.
Do a roll call.
Roll call?
Yeah, it's the end.
Ms. Nero?
Yes.
Ms. Towner?
Yes.
Ms. Salas?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs?
Yes.
Yes. Adjournment.
Before 8 o'clock.
Yeah.